Well, I think the audience knows this gentleman by now. How are you?
It's always a pleasure to ride in cars in exotic places.
Yeah, I mean, we're in Washington. It's going to be 30 degrees today.
Yeah, the weather's so spectacular here.
It is.
Oh my God.
It's my first time here.
Isn't that a gorgeous city?
It is gorgeous. It's clean.
It's really something to go through the various government buildings and the monuments and the National Museum of Art and the it's just crazy. It's a great place to come for a vacation. It really is.
I will, I know the audience probably can't see me right now. Yeah, I'm going to have to come back here and take a tour. But I did go for a walk to see the White House and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Let me fix this here, sorry. All right. Listen, what's going on here? What, the regulators called, you ask you why your stocks moved?
No, they know. I guess they're probably wise enough to know not to make that call. If they don't call me when the stock goes down, why should they call me when it goes up? For obvious reasons.
Yeah, that would be
Should
funny.
be going up a lot more, but anyway, there's another story there. But we're off to finally broken out of our crazy, ban that we're in there for almost 3 years.
Yeah.
I think this is just the start. I mean, obviously I'm long and therefore recommend, so take that into account. But
yeah,
I mean, stocks make moves out of those bands, and they usually break out savagely one way or the other.
Right.
That's just we're broken out north, and it's for good reason. It's because we've made a major discovery. I mean, we had a significant discovery in NISK, and we've been growing that. And now we've found out that it's not just a nickel sulfide project; it's a polymetallic deposit. So that's a different animal. And what does that mean? I'm only learning it myself, but basically, in a polymetallic deposit, like the world's most valuable mines are polymetallic.
Okay.
So Norilsk is the world's most valuable mine. It's $1 trillion in situ value. Many people know it for nickel, but it's got 12 paying minerals and has 12 million ounces of gold. Bet you didn't know that one. I didn't know it either. So when you have
I like the energy. You got a different vibe there. I'm telling you, man.
Well, you know what? I mean, the gods have given us one. The team has obviously done exceptional work to get out there and follow it up scientifically and do the right processes that get you to the point of making a big ass discovery. But again, at some point, it's also luck. So thank you, Lord. Thank you. We really appreciate that. Please bring more. But so what happened was, in searching for more nickel, obviously we stepped out, and last April we found that, very exciting hole where we had the, almost 1 ounce of PGMs over about 8 meters, which is pretty exciting. Was very exciting. But the problem was, at the time, it was in a marshy area near surface, and we just couldn't get at it until January. So, obviously went about our nickel business, and that was going well. And we obviously advanced that along and got the 43101 out, and that's been going very, very well. And then we followed up in January with drilling on what we now call the Lion discovery, at the Lion zone. And I think we've drilled 16 holes in there. 15 of the 16 hit, and the intersections have been ridiculous. So, the interesting, obviously the last week we put out 14 meters of, 8% copper and, 70 grams of silver and, almost a half ounce of PGMs and bunch of gold and nickel as well. So, making for a super valuable rock, like, the regulators don't like to talk about in situ value, so I wouldn't necessarily talk about it, but it's very valuable. Needless to say, like, you'd be thrilled to have this rock. And so it's condensed, and so it's like, where did that come from? Well, it probably came from a nickel sulfide source. And these big polymetallic deposits, like Norilsk, and there's others, generally are underpinned by the nickel, but in the polymetallic situation, your other metal values actually end up exceeding the value of the nickel. So that we expect that the copper, PGM, gold, silver, and ultimately we expect to find zinc and other things here that will exceed the value of the nickel. But it makes a super robust set of economics, super beneficial to put into a mine, because think of the concentration, 14 meters. of this amazing stuff. That's a very thick intersection, but it would be like if we announced a 200-meter hole at 1%. You know what I mean? It's like that type of number. So you can imagine what the euphoria of the market is, but it's way better to have it in 14 meters. There's a lot less environmental
That's
issue
right.
to mine it, much more economic to mine it, much higher returns. So that's why we're excited, and that's why, honestly, my phone's ringing off the hook now with brand name investors that have identified this as a major breakthrough. So good things are happening to the stock, and we expect. Honestly, I think this is just the first move. I think when we last spoke,
Any calls from Eric?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Okay, there's that. I was in a stock with Eric in a nickel play that had a huge run, sitting back at like 8 cents, but and they're probably still drilling. But this is very interesting. Where's the I'm so happy for you, Terry, honestly, because you do so much outside of this project that for shareholders of Power Nickel, you've got a lot of marketability. Right, because your name and your face is out there, so this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, no, listen, I'm super happy. Our shareholders have been long suffering. It's been and they've been patient and supportive and doing all the right things that shareholders should do when you still believe in the project and the team.
Yeah.
And they have, and so that's been great, and we thank them for that. And now we're starting to pay back some of the hard work they've done, and we think over the next couple of years they could be on for the ride of their life. We really think so.
Okay, so then let's hit a reset button here. So you put this stuff out, right? The stocks move. Do you know who's is it retail buying it? Some institutions buying it?
I think it's largely high net worth retail that's buying it. I don't think there's any. Obviously our institutional shareholders that are in, Palace Capital and BT Global, are they're staying in and are supportive, but it's become almost such a big piece of their fund that they're limited to what they can add on.
Yeah.
So so they've made obviously the wise moves, and good for them. But I think we're now talking to a number of funds and brand investors, and we'll get into obviously a different type of strategic investor now because of the polymetallic nature of it, right?
Yeah.
Before you would have been talking to mostly nickel-centric, investors and industry, but now you can talk to the copper guys, you can talk to the gold guys, etc. So, yeah, we're getting out there.
So what are the next steps forward now?
So, we when we released that last hole, we said that we had, that was obviously one of our top 5 holes, implying that we think we've got another at least 4 great holes that we think will be the same or similar or better to that one. So that will be exceptional news, and we want to get that out. So expect, the assays are coming in. Expect to get some assays this week, and probably get some more assays out next week. We're going to. I think we're going to beef up the advisory team. We've got some world-class thought leaders that I think will be joining us to help guide us. Mm-hmm. Because we've got how it is when you get this amazing ore body, and it's quite unique. You need some people that have been there and done this before,
right,
to help guide you and give you some advice. I mean, both Ken Williamson, our VP of Exploration, GeoVector, have done an exceptional job, and I'm really proud of them. But I want to help them, give them the best tools they can to go forward and continue to do great work. So we're going to do that. And then obviously we'll get these assays out sometime between now and the end of June, when the tax laws change in Canada. We'll do a significant financing, but it won't really come to the market. It'll be done with industry types, mm-hmm, and we're already in conversation with these people. It's just a matter of pricing, and we got this great news. We've got to get it out there. We think it's worth a lot more, and so at some point in time we'll hit the bid, but it's certainly not down here. Yeah.
You know who knows a lot about a nickel discovery in Canada is Robert Friedland.
There's a name.
There's a name, yeah. Why I can't think of the nickel discovery right now.
Voisey's Bay.
Voisey's Bay, yeah.
We've talked to Robert. Robert's a shareholder,
Okay.
So he's obviously a phenomenal brainchild in mining. He's and now he's Mr. Copper, right? With everything else he's done. So he's certainly he and Ivanhoe are one of the really bright lights in the space. They've done some phenomenal work. So, great guy to talk to.
So what are you doing here in Washington?
So we came down to the Energy Transition Summit. Obviously, one of the things, we're following a couple pathways at Powered Nickel. We're pursuing our exploration with, at this point, focusing on the Lion Zone and the heavy polymetallic, intersections we're working with. But we've also got the nickel discovery, and we've been advancing that through a feasibility process with CVMR. So we expect we know it's going well, and we expect that we'll be possibly looking at moving into a refinery building program with them in the next couple of years. So we'll actually build a refinery, possibly before the mine, for business reasons that will be substantiated at the time. So we're down meeting with U.S. government officials that would be part of that process.
Okay.
So that's another sort of business aspect of Powered Nickel that's less well known, but will become more well known as we evolve over time here.
Are you keynote speaking at all? Or?
Yeah, I'm doing the luncheon speech tomorrow, basically with John Fennick, about I guess opportunities and challenges for mining, and I guess one of the challenges we'll be talking about is the naked short selling, or what I call I'm rebranding that as to investor equality. This is not about naked short selling or counterfeit shares. Yeah, those are factors. It's a simple thing. Whether you're black or you're white or you're green or you're brown, you're equal. Whether you're straight or you're gay or you're trans or whatever, you're equal. Equality is probably our most universally established value in our society. So why are investors not equal? Carl, can you tell me that?
No,
why are you and I treated different than a hedge fund? Why are you and I treated different than the banks? I'm not talking about market makers. I'm talking about these guys have rights we don't have.
Right.
That is unconscionable. We did not know this until I found this out, and I've been bringing it public, and now I'm frosty, and everyone else is getting frosty too. We're going to take these guys down. Politicians, they're going to get voted out of office if they don't come across, because mom and pa may be confused with naked short selling and counterfeit shares, but they're not confused about equality. They want to be treated. They don't see why some investment banker is raping and pillaging their money. Okay, they want an end to that, and we want an end to that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of people, a lot of retail, I should say, won't go back into certain markets because they just feel like it's
a rigged game.
It's a loss. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
I don't blame them. The one thing I would say is that there's a thing called short market exempt, and basically that's how other people like hedge funds, investment banks, offshore accounts trade, and do naked shorting through this process. So they're treated differently. We don't have that right as individuals. They only have the right because they're renting pipe from the banks. The banks get the profit from it, and those other guys get to handle things differently, and they get to basically drive our markets down. They've done a very good job of doing that, made a lot of money. I would think in Canada, they've taken out $500 billion. No, $500 billion,
yeah.
$500 billion.
Yeah.
In the U.S. is even more.
That's ridiculous.
So that's scary sums. But what the underpinning of it is they're treating investors unequally, and society will not stand for that. Now that we know this, we will make the changes. So as investors, know that this is going to happen. It may take a little bit of time. It may take 6 weeks. It may take 6 months. It won't take 6 years. I'll put that out there. It'll happen sooner than you think. And when it does, this mining market is going to go kaboom. And there's many great ways to play it now. And we're not talking about making 30% of your money. I'm talking about making 30 times your money. That's what's out there for you. So it's like, like I said to people, I called the bottom in Vancouver, and I said, you should get off half your stack. Okay, and I think I made a pretty good call on that. I said, get off half your stack, get in some of, if you can't stomach the power nickels and the volatility in those smaller nano-cap stocks, I get that. For some people, that's not an appropriate move. Invest in some great mining funds, because those guys will get it right. You know what I mean? And at least you're going to be part of the bounce. Because the first move is going from bad to less bad.
Yeah.
And that's a double, and that's happened for us already. And it's going to double again just like that, I think. And so it's like, Now's the time for people, so, be frosty about what they've done to you, but recognize that we're going to work together. We're making this a big issue, and we will make a change, and you will be the beneficiary of it. Okay, so get in on the ground floor. So earn some of your money back. Find some good names or find some good mining mutual funds to invest in. I think you'll do really well.
That's a great clip, Terry. I got to tell you.
That's the truth, man.
Yeah, you're an amazing leader in this industry.
Well, I'm just so frustrated, as most executives are in this space, because it's not an easy business. It's a bloody hard business, and most time Mother Earth, she's very difficult.
Yeah,
and that's the way it should be. That's life. That's capitalism. It's not easy to make a fortune in this business, but there are a lot of great companies out there that have worked hard, done the right thing with the clients' investors' money, put it in the ground, have done God's work really, and they've been punished.
Yeah.
And these thieving buggers have taken this money. There's no righteous way around it. They've just stolen it, and it's got to stop.
What's amazing is that your peer group, all of these executives that you see around the world as you travel and you market and you talk to institutional people, you're not just water cooler, like having that conversation around the water cooler. You've taken the bull by the horns. You said, okay, well, I'm going to be part of the solution, and I'm going to drive this forward. So that's amazing. It's part of your legacy, honestly.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. Let's hope and now many great people are joining the cause. John Chisholm, the guy behind Premier Nickel, has joined, and there's many great people. I think obviously Eric Sprott's super supportive. And there's going to be others that are coming forward that I'm talking to that will be supported. And it's not about Terry Lynch. It's about the cause. Yeah. And it's like I've been saying to PDEC, wake the hell up.
Yeah.
This is a cause you should be leading.
Well, of course.
They're like sleep at the switch, those guys. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Still wondering, what the hell's going on? Well, guys, the industry's dying because you haven't done anything. You've let this happen. We've told you about it. But still, anyway, but the right people are waking up. Governments, we're getting in to see the right people, and governments are listening, and they're being put in no uncertain terms. You're either with us, you're either with the people and protecting the people, or you're with the crooks and protecting the crooks. What's it going to be? Because if you're with us and protecting us, we're voting for you. If you're with the bad guys, we're voting against you. We're going to do everything we can to get you out of office.
Right. This needs to be explained to the average person that doesn't have a lot of capital.
Yeah.
Honestly. Right? Because, if we're talking votes now, then we need a lot of votes.
Yes.
So maybe there's creative ways to get that message out, and
which is why we're going to the investor equality thing, I think, and because I find I've had people talk about failures to deliver and short market exempt, and their heads blowing off,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, and that's why I've tried to simple things down to say, hey, I think we can all agree that we should treat people equally, right? I mean, that's just fair, and I think Canadians, and Americans are fair people. They want to be treated fairly, and they don't like unfair treatment. So we're being untreated fairly. We're not being treated fairly, and now we know. Before we didn't know, so there was an excuse of lack of knowledge. Now it's clear what the hell's going on, and no amount of manipulation can change that. You're not treating investors equally. That's got to stop. Full stop.
What's amazing? What are we looking at right now?
Yeah, the White House.
The White House.
Yeah.
The audience can't see that, but while we're talking, we're staring at the White House.
Yeah. Well, and the Americans, honestly, they're moving faster and further than the Canadians. They're not moving as quickly as they should, but they're moving faster. And I think it's only a matter of time before that, the Canadians wake up. I don't think Cyril's the answer. I think they're in their own echo chamber, and they'll only change when the government tells them to change.
Right.
In their mind, there's no problem.
Yeah.
But clearly they're wrong. But there's no point beating the dead horse. There's no point in talking to them, sending them reports and filing complaints. It's all just a waste of time.
Time and money.
But we've done it just to go through the process so that we try to be evidence based.
Yeah.
It's not conspiracy. People want to say, no, it's not a conspiracy theory. We've got facts. Mm-hmm. Facts. Lots of facts.
Well, Trump was commenting last week because of his media company there. He was talking about short sellers.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't follow the whole thing, so I don't know exactly what his points were.
Yeah. I mean, again, irrespective of the fact of whether the stock should be a short or not, if you're going to short a stock, you got to do it legitimately, and they're not doing it legitimately with his stock. okay, which they haven't been doing it with our stocks either. And that's the whole point. The whole point is you got to have rule of law. Otherwise you have anarchy, okay? And then you have a bunch of criminals making money and a bunch of ordinary people losing money and then obviously not participating in the system. And then the system breaks down because you're not getting investment where it should be.
And that's happened in Canada for sure.
Totally happened in Canada.
Yeah.
So this is the crux of it, it is that capitalism is breaking down because of this very poor execution of regulations by our regulators. Okay, now whether that was by design or incompetence, I don't know. But for sure, we know it's not working. We know that they're not treating investors equally, and now there's no excuse to not change, right? Before ignorance, okay, we didn't know. Then that's a possible excuse. Shouldn't have happened, but let's say it did. It has. Now let's change. Let's change what we can change right now. Because now, if we change those rules, then the investors can get back in and they can make a lot of money. Because, fortunately for them, all these stocks are on their floor, man.
Yeah.
They're trading for 10 cents on the dollar. So if they get back in now, they're going to be able to make a good run, which will be awesome for the investors, and they deserve it. They deserve some big wins.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're right back at the hotel. I think it's been a fantastic update about the company,
Yep.
and of course your Save Canadian Mining, and really I think it's past that now. It's past Save Canadian Mining.
It's Save Canadian Equities.
That's right.
It's Save Canada.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
honestly, so let's hope and pray that the governments do the right thing now that we're putting this issue squarely before them, and fix this thing. Because if they follow like South Korea, which is like a well-run country,
Yeah.
Shutting off this, cutting the head off of the snake, we can turn this around in a hurry.
Mm-hmm.
And we could go from struggling to boom.
Right.
And
Create wealth.
Lord knows we could use that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's focus on that.
Okay. Well,
Thanks, buddy.
absolutely, Terry. Shout out to Ashley West for
Ashley, thank you.
Yeah, saying you got to go interview Terry. Put a last minute email into him, and here we are. So best of luck with Power Nickel.
Okay, thanks.
And
buddy.
everything
Cheers.
you're a part
Okay,
of.
thanks, girl. Bye-bye.